Paris President Emmanuel Macron of France on Wednesday invited the Lebanese Prime Minister to come to France with his family, appearing to offer him a way to leave Saudi Arabia, where he has remained under mysterious circumstances since he unexpectedly declared his resignation 11 days ago in a speech broadcast from the country. In a bizarre diplomatic situation, concern has mounted that the Prime Minister, Saad Hariri, has been coerced by Saudi Arabia and may be a de facto prisoner there. His insistence in a television interview on Sunday that he was free did little to dispel the questions. Saudi Arabia, Mr. Hariri's political patron, has been intensifying its efforts to confront increasing Iranian influence and power in the region. Mr. Hariri's resignation was widely seen as part of a Saudi strategy to isolate Iran and its Lebanese ally, Hezbollah, which is part of the coalition government Mr. Hariri has headed for a year. Also on Wednesday, Mr. Hariri's older brother, Baha, made his first public statement since the crisis began. He appeared to be signaling that he was willing to toe the Saudi line, perhaps more enthusiastically than his brother, who Riyadh wanted to take a more confrontational approach to Hezbollah. In a statement to the Associated Press from Monaco, Baha Hariri thanked the Saudis for what he called decades of support for Lebanon and said Iran and Hezbollah, the Lebanese Shiite militant group and political party, were trying to take control of the country. The French invitation and Baha Hariri's statement came as the Lebanese government, along with the European Union and several Western European countries, ramped up public pressure on the Saudis to make clear that Mr. Hariri is free to leave their country. As diplomats across Europe and the Middle East scrambled to find a way out of the crisis, France was taking a leading role. France has close ties both to Lebanon, where it was a former colonial ruler, and to the Hariri family. Yet the French invitation, made in a terse announcement Wednesday evening from the Élysée, the presidential palace, raised further questions. For one, it prompted speculation in Lebanon that Saad Hariri could be being eased out to exile in France. Mr. Macron later clarified to reporters that he was not inviting Mr. Hariri to life in exile, but just for a visit of a few days. Yet the very fact that such a clarification was necessary added to the oddity of the situation. Other questions were raised by the statement, which said, after discussing it with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Prime Minister of Lebanon Saad Hariri, the President of the Republic invited Saad Hariri and his family to come to France. Reading between the lines, social media commenters suggested that Mr. Hariri may not be acting freely. Why else would Mr. Macron need to speak to the Crown Prince before issuing the invitation? The statement's emphasis on the invitation of Mr. Hariri's family also seemed significant, given that Mr. Hariri had written in a Twitter post on Tuesday that he would be back in Lebanon soon but that his family would stay in Saudi Arabia, raising concerns that his family was being held as de facto hostages. Mr.